I feel like a lot of times when we're talking about healing trauma, it's very either psychological based, like brain based, or energy based, and both are very good and very helpful. But sometimes you just need to do things. You just want to get some concrete steps or actions you can take towards healing. So I see the things that I'm going to share today in this video as very much helping you heal. So I see it as you have the main methods, and my absolute main method will always be EFT, the emotional freedom technique. That is the core. But there are things you can do around that that will actually help and accelerate your healing so much more. And sometimes I remember just wanting some way to channel or focus my energy, like my unrest, and I just wanted to do things other than diving into my trauma and trying to heal that. So that's why we are going to talk about 3 physical things you can do to help you heal this attachment style. I just want to say really, really clearly that I am not an expert on any of these 3 things, so please consult your doctor, physician, whoever knows more about this. And also just look up on YouTube the people that are much more experts on this. What I want to focus on is why this will help you and how it has helped me, so that you know why, and it might help you to see if it's valuable for you too. So 3 physical things, let's dive in. Long introduction. The first one is stretching. Stretching is the first physical thing, because I remember when I was in the crush state of the fearful avoidant attachment style for years, I tried to meditate. I tried to have like a daily routine where I meditated or was mindful. Mindfulness maybe helped a little bit, but still it was like my brain was just a hurricane and I was trying to learn how to sail. That's what it felt like meditating. And looking back on it, I can totally see why, and I don't actually propose this a lot or advise this a lot. I don't advise, but tell a lot of people to meditate when you're going through this, because meditation actually can be triggering in and of itself when you have a lot of trauma. So now I'm able to meditate, but that's after years of healing and being in a place where I can just completely allow my thoughts and my feelings. When you're not there, that's okay. You don't have to be. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to be able to do that. It's very logical that you can't. What you can do is stretching, because it's very physical. Even yoga for me was like too calm. I would just get so antsy and anxious, and I actually at one point in a yoga class got a panic attack, and afterwards I think, looking back, I think it was because trauma was kind of like coming up to the surface. So stretching can definitely help, and I'll explain why. But it's also a way of not having to go too deep into relaxation, because that can be triggering when there's a lot of trauma stored. Now, I have to say, stretching can release some trauma stored in the body. That's one of the reasons why it's so helpful. But usually it's less intense, and it's easier to manage and easier to just stop stretching. And also easier to start, because it doesn't require you to like settle in and become really calm when you do not feel calm at all. You can stretch in a more mechanical way, which will still really help. So again, I am not a physician. I'm not I don't even know all the words, physical therapist, whatever, people that know way more about stretching. I have not had any training in this, but it helped me. So I'm just telling you my personal experience. It definitely helped me to stretch, to get a little bit more into my body, feel my body a little bit more. And I also noticed that some specific muscles actually have really helped to stretch. And one I want to touch on is the psoas muscle. psoas muscle. It is spelled PSOAS. And you can definitely just look it up, look just on YouTube, on Google, how to stretch them. There are several videos on that by people who have trained for this. um, but I've noticed a couple of times that I was just anxious, and when I stretched that muscle, I felt better. And that's always helpful, isn't it? Because when we have the fearful avoidant attachment style, and especially when that like bites down on relationships, anytime you feel anxious, you will start to doubt your relationships, or you will start to focus on your relationships, or you will start to, find security or certainty in relationships. But it could be something very different. So stretching really did help me to be more in my body, because when your body feels very tight and isn't loose and supple, you go to your head so much more because your body doesn't feel like a nice place to be. So that's another reason why stretching can really, really help you. And just to notice that you have a body, actually. And a lot of fearful avoidants have problems with that, have trouble with really feeling their body. So just Google and find a short stretching routine that feels good for you. I'm not going to propose any specific one. Just try the psoas muscle, make sure you get warmed up. I think that's very important. But again, I'm not I'm not an expert on this. I just know it can help with anxiety. So that was the first one, stretching. The second one actually was pretty life-changing for me. And it feels so weird that it had such an impact on my relationship, because it has nothing to do with relationships at all. But it did have so much to do with my general feeling of anxiety. And maybe you aren't going to laugh as I say this, but the second one is decluttering. Decluttering definitely changed my life and helped me so much in healing the fearful avoidant attachment style. And I will tell you why. I could talk about decluttering all day long. But when I was in the depths of my fearful avoidant attachment style, first of all, the first time I decluttered, I loved that I could just focus my obsessive energy on something else. I had a project, I had something I could do that was like, there was an end to it. So that was really good. That's the first reason why it's very valuable to do. The second is that there are a lot of things, a lot of stuff you have that have a lot of negative associations. So for instance, the first thing I really extremely decluttered was my wardrobe, was my closet. I always had too many clothes, and I thought I had to, because I already felt like all the clothes I was wearing, they didn't feel right, like it didn't feel good. And so I just bought more and more and got more and more, because I thought that that would help me organize the outfits or pick the outfits that would feel like me. It didn't help. And the first time I decluttered my wardrobe, the main things I focused on was the things that made me feel guilty and that made me feel ashamed. And those were the things I threw away. So this is a little bit different than the Marie Kondo style, but it really did help me, because I had gotten so many clothes from my mom. My mom is like, she's one of the most well-dressed women I know. And I think I always had that picture in mind, like that's how I should be. And I wasn't, I still am not. I love my wardrobe now. But I had gotten a lot of clothes from her, and I felt like I had to wear them and they didn't feel like me. And so they were hanging in my closet, and every time I opened the closet, I would see all those clothes and I would feel like I had to wear them, because my mom would ask, "Oh, did you wear that sweater recently? And how do you like it?" And it was just, I really didn't know it at the time, but that was just such a mental load to bear. So what I did one day after I actually was tapping on something completely different. I knew I wanted to declutter my wardrobe. I just hadn't gotten around to it because it felt overwhelming. And then after like a tapping session, EFT session, all of a sudden I stood up and I said to Arjen, my husband, I am going to declutter my closet. And I went to my closet and it was almost like the things I wanted to keep were shining, like they had a light around them. It sounds so weird, almost like a halo kind of thing. And everything else that gave me a bad feeling, so made me feel guilty for having gotten it from, for instance, my mom, or for paying a lot of money for it and not wearing it. I I just donated. I threw it away, or donated it if it still was really good clothing. Um, and the things that made me feel ashamed were the things that just really didn't fit my body. I just didn't feel right in it. Um, I just love white sweaters, and I that's just me. I just love white snuggly sweaters. And I always felt like I had to wear tight fitting clothing because that's what women are supposed to wear if you want to be accepted, I guess. I don't know. Um, but all of a sudden I was like, no, I just don't like that. I don't feel comfortable with that. I just want my snuggly sweaters. And so I just chugged all of that. I just threw it all away. And what I was left with was, I think, 10% of my wardrobe. And I was so incredibly happy. Every single time I opened that door, it was just clothes that I felt good about, that gave me a warm feeling, that made me happy. And when I noticed that, I started doing that with everything in my house. And I have to say, I fell back a lot of times because I went back and forth between being really afraid I would miss something. So I would buy a lot of things just to have things in stock, which is very fear driven. And then decluttering everything when I found that I was anxious. And I still notice it even after all the healing. So I think it's just a human thing. When I feel overwhelmed, it's a lot of times it's because there's too much stuff in the house. And so I start decluttering again and it feels so much better. So your surroundings have a huge, huge, huge impact on your mental state. And especially for a fearful avoidant, that's so important to know and to honor, because you have a big mental load already as it is. You are an amazing, sensitive human being with so many gifts that come from that. And you also have just a lot of trauma. So it's very normal and logical that things feel overwhelming. So what you can do for yourself, which will really, and I really mean this, really help you and help you healing your fearful avoidant attachment style, is making your surroundings as peaceful and serene as possible. Throw out anything that doesn't serve you, that doesn't feel good. And that's another reason why this is actually so helpful in healing the fearful avoidant attachment style. As you start decluttering, you will get to know yourself so much better, what you like and what you don't like, which makes it easier to express your needs. But also, shit, I forgot the second one. Wait, it will come. Wait. Shit, I know. No, it just completely slips away. You will get to know yourself better, which makes it easier to express your needs. Oh yeah, there we go. And it will also give you a sense of power. You are not powerless over your environment, and decluttering will help you see that and help you experience that. You decide what is going to be in your room, in your house. You decide that. Nobody else. It doesn't matter if your mother gave you a $300 vase. I have no idea why that came up. If you don't like it, if it doesn't serve you, it can go. This is your house. This is your environment. This is your life. And why that helps with the fearful avoidant attachment style is because you feel like you have to take every thought you have seriously. You feel like you have to take everything that anybody else says seriously. But this is your house. Your body is your house. And you decide which thoughts you will take seriously and which you don't. Which feelings you will just allow to go, and which feelings you will look up, in the sense that you can do things to make yourself feel happy. You don't have to feel sad because somebody else expects you to or wants you to. You decide. It's your body, it's your house. And the decluttering process really, really helped me see that. And made me feel more powerful, and made me feel like I had agency over my life and over what I surrounded myself with. So it was just such a growth process. Not necessarily easy, but so fulfilling, because it's something very tangible, very concrete that you can do. That will help so much. So I mean, look up anybody that has more to say on this. Oh, and look up Clutterbug to find your organization style, because that is also just so interesting. Everybody is different, and I think the fearful avoidant attachment style, maybe even more than any other, feels like they always have to, like they should do things a certain way. They should do it like everybody else does. But you have a specific organization style, just as you have a specific so many things. But the more you get to know yourself, the more you allow yourself to be yourself. So maybe you have been organizing in a way that you think you should, and it isn't working because it's not who you are. And there's a difference between the fantasy self and your real self. And the fantasy self is who you think you should be. Like, I should be running every morning. That's why I have this whole outfit with running clothes, and I never do. Then that's not your real self. Chuck the clothes. But also in that organization style, there is an organization style for you. Just look it up. I think her name is Cassandra or Cass. She's really funny, and it's so validating to see, like, oh, this is why my room or house is always a mess. Maybe that's not even a problem for you, but it was very validating for me. So that was the second one. And then the third one is gut health. And this is definitely something, obviously, you have to study for. But I've been doing this work now. I mean, I've healed myself, and then 5 years ago, I started helping others with healing, and more than 1,500 people have gone through the programs, and I've helped heal. And I notice so much. We don't even really talk about it that much because I'm not an expert on this, and I'm not trained in this. But I do hear back from a lot of people that say, well, when I focused on my diet and I focused on the right supplements and on my gut health, my mental state really improved. And that can help so much in healing the fearful avoidant attachment style. So healing your gut health won't necessarily heal your attachment style, but it can help you by creating such a stable basis from which you can heal. Because if your gut health is just not doing very well, it can cause so much more anxiety, so much more OCD. Actually, there's a link between gut health and OCD too. It can cause depression, or it can really attribute or contribute to it, depression. So making sure your gut health is on point, is good, is strong, that can eliminate a lot of finding the English word. Well, you're just like fighting. If your gut health is not good, you are fighting so hard while it doesn't have to be so hard. So if your gut health is contributing to your anxiety, OCD, depression, and you want to heal that just by tapping and releasing trauma, it could be that you are tapping and tapping and tapping, and you might notice differences, but you always seem to fall back. That's just very frustrating. So definitely take care of your gut health too. Again, I'm not an expert on this, not an expert at all. But there is this girl who wrote a book about it. I haven't read the book completely yet, but it is very interesting and good. I think her name is Julia Enders, and the book is called Gut. But also just search YouTube for gut health. You will find so many tips and tricks, which I don't feel um, like I should give because I'm not trained in them. But those are three things you can very concretely do and change in your life right now, even if it's just a little bit at a time, that can really, really help you in healing your fearful avoidant attachment style. You are then creating the context, the surroundings that will make it so much easier for you to heal. And that's what I really want for you. If you do this, let me know. If you're going to stretch, if you're going to declutter, if you're going to look at gut health, let me know what you're going to do. Let me know if you're excited. And also keep me posted in the comments below whether that helped and how you are finding that to add that to your life or routine. Yeah, and if you have done that and you still feel like, okay, now I can really go to the root of my fearful avoidant attachment style, I really want to heal that, you can put yourself on the wait list. I am developing an online program and I will keep you updated on when that's going to start, and then we can go through it together and you can heal the actual trauma and the roots of the fearful avoidant attachment style. All right, I am so incredibly happy you are here. And please, please, please let me know what you are going to do, which of these three, maybe all three. Yeah, can't wait to hear from you.